So IISc MDes application forms are officially out now. And if you're even slightly considering IISc as your institute, then this video is just right for you. Because today I'm not only going to take you through the deadlines, which you can definitely find on these websites, but my experience of IISc Bangalore, right from application form to the interview date and the final dilemma of choosing the right institute for me. So let's get into it. Hi guys, my name is Simran Pandit and I am a product designer at ThoughtSpot, Masters in Design graduate from IIT Guwahati 2025 batch, AIR 90 CEED 2023. So what do you need to do right now? Since the application forms are already out, go check out those application forms and mark these dates already with you. What's the deadline for application form? What are the reporting dates for your interview and test schedules, which is basically the DAT, design aptitude test, which is going to studio test basically. And keep all these details handy with you and in your head or marked in your calendars already. So guys, do not wait till the last date of your application form to open it and look into it. Don't do that mistake. Open it today, see what are things that are required, and if there is anything additional required that you need to work on, which could be your portfolio, so or some assignment, which was not during my time, but there are chances. So check out the whole application form today only. Do not wait for the last deadline date to open and fill that form, and submit everything. Keep everything ready with you and submit whenever you want before the deadline. Now let's talk about the fees, the stipend, and the selection criteria into IISc Bangalore. The fees is something that I have already talked about in my previous video, and I've also prepared a guide where I have structured all the fees category wise and the domains that are you going to get in your MDes program for each and every institute. So you'll find a link somewhere on the screen and you can get access to it. Now coming to stipend. So all the IISc MDes program students get a stipend of 12,400 every month. Now, the selection criteria. This is something very important to be taken a note of. As mentioned by IISc Bangalore, that your selection will be based on 70% CEED score and 30% your interview and studio test performance. So clearing CEED is not the only thing or not the only milestone. Interview is also as important as it is. So that was all important information that I could give forward to you. Now let's get into my experience of IISc Bangalore. So the day this application form was rolled out, I looked into it, submitted my application form as soon as I could with all the documents, my CEED score and everything, and with my portfolio once my portfolio was ready. And right after that, I reached out to seniors of IISc Bangalore who were already studying there, a lot of seniors, and I really wanted to know what kind of environment is there, what is the curriculum there, and everything around it, and how I should prepare for the interview as well. So, no one better than a person who has already been there can actually tell you what you need to do, what you need not to do. So, a very big tip over here that please do not hesitate in reaching out to students or people who are already studying there. That was the very first thing that I did, and it helped me a lot. It helped me get all those details that I could have never gotten from any website, any YouTube video, but a self-experienced person, right? So that was that, and from there I got to know a lot of things about IISc Bangalore and interview processes basically. So, IISc Bangalore is a very technical institute, and they look forward to students to have those technical knowledge as well, along with design thinking processes as well, of course. But in the interviews of IISc, this was the feedback or the tips that I got from my seniors, that prepare your portfolio very well on technical terms, because you will be asked such questions around technicalities, about measurements, about materials, and moreover your background. So since in this program for IISc Bangalore, mostly BTech students apply and are eligible for, then they ask you around your pure background, where you from, as in what you did in your bachelor's. So for me, since I did BTech in EC, so they literally started with asking me, what was your favorite subject during your bachelor's, what were the subject that you hated the most, and tell us more about your bachelor's happening. So everything in my bachelor's, they asked me about that before coming into the studio test and my portfolio as well. So they first asked me around that, like little chilling me out and making me settle in with the environment. Another thing to be noticed over here, and a lot of students have asked me this, that how many panels sit for these interviews. So it basically depends from institute to institute and domain to domain. For IISc Bangalore, and as far as I know from other students as well who were there along with me, there were only two to three panelists sitting in front of you and like taking your interview. It won't be that overwhelming, right? And for other institutes, it was a way different story, which I'll tell in my next upcoming videos. So anyways, there'll be only two to three. For me, it was three professors who were sitting and taking my interview. So right after like a little bit of ice breaking and everything, they started asking me questions around the studio test that happened. So if I tell you about my studio test, the studio test was very simple. They gave us origami sheets and like A3 square, like a bigger square origami sheets, and there was a question paper printed in which it was a cupboard made, and they gave us measurements, specific measurements, and we were not allowed to take anything with us. All the stationaries were given from them, and like pencil, eraser, everything, but not scale, right? And in the question paper they asked, or they gave very specific measurements, that the length should be this much, the width should be this much, the height should be this much, and we had to like paper fold those origami and make that cupboard with the exact measurements. And that was the challenge. How do you do that? So there I learned that the measurements was not in like points or decimals or something. They were very straightforward measurements, like 15 centimeter, 5 centimeter, blah blah blah. So I got to know that this width, this length is approximate of 15 centimeter, and I didn't know at that time. I got to know from other students. So it's so very much important for you to interact with everyone else around there. Do that, please. You get to know a lot more stuff than you already know. So yeah, it will be a time bound activity or time bound test that will be there, and you'll have to paper fold and create that object that will given to you, which will differ for sure. Of course, that was during my time in 2023, so it may have changed till now, like everything else. So that was my studio test, and my interview started with questions around my studio test, the product that I built. So I was supposed to take that cupboard that I created to the interview, and they asked me questions around it. They found it like neat and clean, and that is what they are looking forward to, like something not like crumbled, but some neat and clean origami object that was supposed to be created without any like those black flakes of Fevicol and all of that stuff. So they found it clean, they appreciated that, and they asked me around questions around, how do you know it is of the exact length? Do you think it's the right width that was given in the question? Or they actually asked, what was the width given in the question? Is it the exact width that was asked to be made? And I was like, oh shit, I don't remember. So, but I said with a full confidence that yes, this was the width, and I assume that it is approximately of the same measurements that was given there. And that was all. They just asked me, they just wanted to check my confidence. Or do I remember, or have I given that much attention to those details that was actually mentioned. So one thing to take away from here, attention to details. That is what important for this interview exactly. So don't miss out on that, please. Coming to the second part of the interview, once the questions around my studio test is done, they jumped into my portfolio, skimmed around my projects and kept my portfolio aside. Yes, they didn't ask me a lot of questions around my portfolio for some reason. I don't know, I still don't know. But after that, they started asking me questions around my background, like again, something EC related, like about semiconductors, about BJT, MOSFET, all of those terms. And guess what, guys? Since I already had a chat with a senior, I knew that they are definitely going to ask about something around my background, something around my bachelor's. And I really prepared the exact script for my interview. I picked up a subject that I liked a bit and literally went through my BTech in like 1 week. 4 years of BTech I did in 1 week, studied all of it, everything, and that really helped me a lot because I felt that while sitting in the interview, I was actually driving the interview by myself because they were asking me exact questions that I prepared for. Somehow that happened. So I started with that one subject that they asked me themselves, like, what is your favorite subject? I took the name of that subject and they started asking me questions and I was ready for it. I was literally prepared for all the questions there because I prepared. And framework that I followed and actually works is the why framework. What is that why framework? Basically, pick a topic, let's say semiconductors. Keep asking why from your own answers and reach till the end from where you can't get an answer. So this is exactly how I prepared, picked up a topic, answered, like prepared an answer for that what is that and all of this. Then started asking questions from why is this way, how is this. Keep asking questions from your own answers. So I prepared like that and it actually went like that in the interview, exactly same, and I was able to answer. But then last one question that the professor asked, which I was not prepared for, so I just very fairly and honestly said, says, sorry, I don't know about this. And for that subject it was ended. Now next professor starts asking me question around physics. So he asked me, he wanted to draw something on the blackboard which was there, some circuit. Yeah, he asked me to draw some circuit which I drew, which was fairly simple. I mean, really basic questions, guys. I mean, that's what we tend to lose on. We prepare for something very complex, but they ultimately ask us very basic questions which we don't know. So prepare basics. So they just asked me to make a circuit, and then on addition of it, they started asking me more questions on top of that circuit, which again, I answered a few and a few I didn't know. Then last came maths, and just one question around maths, that simple integration question that they asked me about, and that was done. That was all. And I felt really satisfied with my whole interview, and I felt that they were also satisfied. I could see through their faces, and it was very good interview. I mean, best interview out of all the interviews in IIT Bombay, IIT Guwahati and IIT Delhi that I gave. So that was my interview experience and studio test, of course. Let's get into the next part of it. Once the interview was done, IISc Bangalore is the first institute who actually rolls out their application form and also their results and then admission processes. So this day, one fine day in the morning, I got this email that I was accepted in IISc Bangalore. I was so happy about it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get into IISc Bangalore. I was all sorted and packed everything, gave all the fees, sorted all these formalities that were supposed to be done. Everything was done, and then another fine day, I got to know that I'm selected in IIT Guwahati as well. Then my dilemma started. Dilemma of my life. Which one do I, or which one should I pick? Right? And this is the dilemma that a lot of students actually get into when they get accepted in multiple IITs, and they are just not able to figure out which one they should pick for, right? So over here, it's very important for you to be very well aware about yourself and what you want to do, what you want from your next 2 years of your life, right? It's not just about institute, it's not just about placements or anything, but everything around, and making the right decision for yourself. So right after that, I started talking to a lot of seniors again, that and they told me, I never got a direct answer that pick one or pick that. No, you won't get that direct answer from anyone but from yourself. They just told me that what do you want to do? Everyone asked me the same questions, and then I repeatedly asked the same question to myself, what do I want? And that actually helped me clear a lot. Both these institutes are very good, are like top level institutes of our country, and but since I was very clear that I want to get into interaction design and not into product or industrial design, so I compared a lot, and based on my own interests, I decided to go ahead with IIT Guwahati. But I paid all the fees, I packed my bags, everything was done, and then I had to like withdraw my fees from IISc Bangalore. That's been my crazy journey around this whole experience, and I can never forget it in my life about all these experiences that I got from everywhere. And I hope you'll enjoy it too. Don't take stress, just enjoy the process. So guys, the final piece of advice is, and the crux of this whole video, talk to your seniors, research about the faculty, prepare well about your background, BTech or any other technical background that you have, and be prepared with all the whys to your answers already with you, and always pay a lot of attention to details. So that was all for this video, guys, and I'll get back to you with another video, another interview experience next weekend. Bye.